is not good morning, it's what do you want?
Yeah, that's definitely German. So,
Yeah, it seriously sounds German.
No, there we go. So, pray tell, Andy McKinney, why would you be speaking Minion? I mean, I don't understand why.
Well, there's two reasons,
Okay.
3 reasons, maybe
Okay.
many reasons. I love the Minions.
Okay.
I think that Minions are absolutely adorable.
Okay.
And they're very clever the way they've done this, because they're the kind of the size and the walking gait of toddlers.
Okay. Yeah.
Which for humans is that we're absolutely completely taken in by that, and we love
There
it.
you go. Yeah.
But there's and myself as well. I'm completely captivated by the Minions,
Mhm.
and they're starting a new movie today
Okay.
called Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Ooh, there we go, Craig. Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Oh yeah, we love Minions.
Yeah. So, what are the show times here?
1 o'clock, 3:10, 5:20, and 7:30.
Wow, 4 showings.
For
huh?
4 showings, it runs about an hour and 22 minutes. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
a short one.
Yeah, great for the younger ones.
Yes.
Their
Oh,
attention
yeah.
span.
Perfect.
A
Yes.
little bit lower. So, and
It's a PG rated.
it is PG.
Which
okay.
is, I think, isn't that as low as it goes?
No.
Go to
You
G.
can go G.
G.
Yeah.
Go, G.
Okay, so anyway, basically, if they're old enough to enter the theater under their own steam, there won't be anything offensive in there.
Uh-huh.
And as Craig says, it's a shortish movie. It's not one of these
Yeah.
big 2.5-hour blockbuster deals.
Yeah.
You can get them in and get them out.
And I really don't have to ask if you're excited for the movie. Yeah.
No,
Because
can't wait.
yeah, wow. Because that was your speaking minion to us this morning. We weren't expecting that, were we, Tina?
No, he didn't clear that with me, and I'm still offended.
Well, I know we didn't, give you some minion language, some
I'll
words.
speak to my staff.
His
Yeah,
people
have your
just-
girl call my girl.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Was that sexist?
No.
I hope so.
No, it's so Minions, new movie coming out, and what did it look like as far as how much it
Yes.
cost to make it?
Yes, in the $85 million range.
Oh, okay.
Which for summer blockbuster movies is, we're accustomed to, 100.5 million or 200 million,
Yeah.
sometimes even more.
Wow.
It might knock that out this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. This is the 5th movie featuring the Minions,
Mm-hmm.
and the previous 4 movies have averaged pretty close to $1 billion apiece.
Wow.
The 2 most recent that are done by the same director were both over $1 billion, which is that's for an animated movie to go over $1 billion is
It's an accomplishment.
not the usual run of things. It's,
Yeah.
you have
It's
to be
impressive.
usually you have to be Toy Story to do
Well,
that.
Yeah, this is a Universal film, not Disney.
Uh-huh.
Which most of these animated movies that are making these big bucks are Disney films. So
Yeah.
This is kind of
Wow.
a little bit of something new there.
Yeah, and people that listen to this show know that I just love the movies. I think
Uh-huh.
the movies are really fun and cool and complicated, and just I like everything about them. And one of the things I like about the movies is when they do something extra special, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, they did. At the beginning of the movie, when the credits are on the screen, Universal has a theme song. And this time, the theme song is sung by the Minions in the Minion language.
Oh,
Wow.
is that something we need to learn now?
Well, for next week.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'll expect you to be able to sing it.
Sing it.
Oh boy.
What, I can't sing the Singapore national anthem?
You can sing the Singapore national anthem if you want.
In Melee.
I did that for Andy last week at lunch.
Gotcha. In Minion though. Now you get
Yeah,
to
I
sing
have to
the
sing.
Translate it.
Singapore national anthem in Minion.
In Minion.
Actually, the Singapore national anthem is
Does it sound a bit?
is sung in Malay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right.
And even though Malays make up a very small percentage of the citizens of Singapore.
However,
It's the oddest thing.
when Singapore when they had the national anthem and they had their independence, which was, I think, 59, it was part of
Malaysia. Malaysia.
Well, it never got called Malaysia until they split off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And-
Malaya.
And it's a common known fact that Malaysians love Minions. So there we go. Everyone knows that.
And who's going to say you nay?
No one.
Nay.
No. Malaysians though also love Elvis.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, who? Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean.
Well, and the Chinese they're allowing Elvis in, I believe,
Uh-huh.
but not Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they have blocked
Yeah.
Top Gun, and still Top Gun is over $1 billion.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that
without
something
China. Yeah.
That's something he had a couple of patches on his jacket or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
the Chinese didn't like.
Or the
Wow.
Taiwanese or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
But Elvis is acceptable.
I believe.
So Elvis rated PG-13, and that
Mhm.
came out last week, didn't it?
That's
Last Friday.
Doing great.
And that's
Good.
doing great, huh?
Everybody's loved it, yeah.
And that was reviewed by Mr. McKinney. So
Yes, you can see my review. Actually, you can get it in the newspaper, or you
Mhm.
can look up on the Sawmill Theatre website.
Ah.
Okay.
And you can do that every week, by the way.
Oh,
Nice.
so that's where I can see
Facebook
it
page,
before.
Facebook page, yes.
Or
right.
Facebook page.
yes,
Great,
sorry.
good.
Yeah.
There we go.
And one of the things I particularly enjoyed, but there's a lot to like about this movie.
Uh-huh.
Early in his career, Elvis spends a lot of time in Memphis,
Uh-huh.
in Beale Street. And
Okay.
Beale Street is kind of a nightclub area.
Mm-hmm.
But in those days, it was a black nightclub area.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be the only white guy in the room.
Yeah.
And he would, in the movie, we feature actors portraying Little Richard,
Okay.
B.B. King,
Yay.
Uh-huh.
Big Mama Thornton.
Oh, yeah.
And these all had clear and obvious influences on the Elvis style.
Wow.
Also featured in the movie is a depiction of Hank Snow, which had a lesser influence on Elvis.
Gotcha. And you said an important person in this movie, character, is Colonel Parker.
Yes, played by Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. And in your review, you describe him as the mysterious, sinister, menacing Colonel Parker.
And I believe manipulative as well.
Manipulative. You could add that to the
Yes.
description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thievering.
Ooh.
Thievery, yeah.
Not. None of those words are good.
No.
So.
And also an imposter.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a continuing theme running through the movie where Elvis and his gang of what they call the Memphis Mafia, his musicians, that I guess stayed with him virtually his whole career.
Yeah.
But they wanted to tour in Europe. They thought it would be cool to go to Europe, and it would be fun as a musician to go to Europe, and of course they would make money, which
Mhm.
everybody appreciates, I think.
Mhm.
And the colonel put the kibosh on that, and he absolutely would not allow it. He put up all kinds of phony baloney reasons why they should not do that. And of course, it would have been a great thing for the brand, so to
Mhm.
speak. And it turns out that this guy was an illegal immigrant. He's a Dutchman,
Mhm.
and had snuck into the country and had he couldn't get a passport.
And that's why.
And that's why.
Ah.
So completely damaging to Elvis for self-serving reasons.
Mhm. Wow.
Just a despicable person, but he got his hooks into Elvis when Elvis was young and naive.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, and even despite that, the last sentence in your review. Despite him not going to Europe, the power of Elvis's personality and talent is so strong that 45 years after his death, his estate makes about $23 million a year.
Yeah.
Still, and that's so true. The influence. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't know who we can think of that has spawned an industry that 45 years after his death, there are people, numerous people, active at this moment that pretend to be him for our entertainment purposes and make a living at
Yep,
it.
and they
Right.
are ETAs,
Mhm.
Elvis tribute artists.
Right.
Oh,
ETAs,
Not-
Elvis tribute
not
artists.
impersonators.
But no,
Yeah.
not no,
Yeah.
Elvis tribute artists, ETAs.
Thank you.
And
Right.
but think about it. What other musician, actor, famous person?
Marilyn Monroe is the only one I'm thinking of who also, I don't know what her estate is now, but
Right,
you know,
yeah.
you think of the iconic pictures
Yeah.
on T-shirts,
Yeah.
and, you know,
But-
but that's unusual.
Yeah, and there's some people maybe that dress, and they dress like her, but not to the extent
Yeah.
of
Well, and
Elvis.
the performance, I mean, Elvis performers,
Yeah.
dress
Tribute
like him.
artists.
Tribute artists.
Yeah.
They dress like him and they perform
Mhm.
his songs
Yeah.
in his style.
in his style.
Yeah, and you have bands, cover bands that do, so you have like Led Zeppelin cover bands, Pink
Right.
Floyd, and,
Right.
and there's some bands that are very, very good. They do a
Right.
wonderful job. Heart is probably the best Led Zeppelin cover band there is. Heart plays Led Zeppelin probably as good as Led Zeppelin. It's amazing. They play,
I thought Heart was girls.
yes, Ann and Nancy
Yeah.
Wilson,
Yeah,
but
right.
they play Led Zeppelin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. As soon as I get,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write
They
that down.
played.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they
YouTube
performed
them.
for Jimmy Page and Robert Plant,
Right.
and Jimmy Page was like almost crying.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're great, but nothing to the extent of Elvis.
Yeah, Beatles.
And even
Oh,
there,
yeah,
you have some
Beatles,
Beatles,
yeah.
but
But
still, it's
not the same thing.
You don't have
because-
Beatle impersonators.
No, the Beatles, are a group, and you've got one person. Elvis is one person.
Yeah.
Elvis had that, well, you said that style,
Yeah.
in the style of Elvis,
Right.
the style, the way he danced and the
Yeah.
costumes and everything that, we
Yeah,
haven't seen
exactly.
that, Beatles,
Yeah,
certainly is iconic, but
and his
they didn't have that.
his charisma. I
Charisma,
know.
yeah.
Oh,
You
boy.
said one of the best quotes in the movie you thought was from Colonel Tom Parker, and he said in the film, "I could see in that girl's eyes she could have eaten him alive." Where there were other artists, in the Beatles,
Yeah.
it was Beatlemania and crazy, but Elvis, the way, especially with women, it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're completely unhinged.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely over their moon.
Yeah, which is crazy. So Elvis, the showtimes on that, Craig. What are they?
Elvis is a little bit off on that one, 12:30, 3:50, and 7:15.
And that's because that's a
It's a long one.
2
It's a
hour
long-
and 39-minute
Yeah,
movie.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah.
And in terms of movie making,
Yes.
this is just superb.
Mm.
Really, really something.
Wow. So that's a movie. Goodness, I think every Elvis fan is just really looking forward to seeing this movie.
And people that are, not antique like myself, that maybe didn't grow up with Elvis,
Uh-huh.
might want to go see it too.
Mhm.
People of
Oh, yeah.
the newer generations to kind of see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah. Well, I know somebody talking, I forget who it was the other day, but they talked to a woman who was not alive when Elvis died, so a little bit younger.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And she made the comment, "Oh, if I would have been alive when he died, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I just would have been a mess." And you look at how many people, when his
Right.
death was announced.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that
my
was
gosh.
a worldwide tragedy for
Mhm.
a lot of people.
Yeah. So this was somebody.
It's really interesting if, I can remember where I was when JFK was
Yes.
shot.
Uh-huh.
And I can also remember where I was when I found out about Elvis's death.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's sort of one of those little frozen moments in time.
Uh-huh.
it's strange.
Mhm.
And I was never a big Elvis fan, although I have come to appreciate some of his music
Yes.
since then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think it was Princess Diana.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
oh, yes, same thing.
Another one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So another.
Do you live long? It's a heartbreak.
Oh, stop it now, you hound dog.
Blue Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, and he did movies too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah. It's
And anytime you get a movie about Hawaii, boy, that's a little check mark in the positive side.
It is for me. So.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
There you
right.
I wanna
go.
call them movies.
So,
And didn't he join the army as well?
When he was drafted.
He was
Yeah, so I guess you
drafted,
could say he joined the army, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he
He was in for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where he met Priscilla, it's,
Right.
in Germany.
Right.
Just to speak to his talent, in the movie Jailhouse Rock,
Mhm.
there's a big production number, big dance number
yeah.
in Jailhouse Rock, and he choreographed that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the guy was just phenomenal.
Mm.
Huh. Choreographed it. Wow, that's,
You mean Elvis, not
Elvis,
the-
no, Elvis,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
Elvis,
okay,
Elvis
okay,
did it.
yeah.
Elvis choreographed
Interesting.
it.
Yeah.
And it's a, it's a big, full-on,
Wow.
musical number, a complicated thing.
wow. So, Elvis, hey, there you go, in theaters, and it's been out for a week, and doing, you said, really well,
Yeah,
right?
really well, yeah.
Nice. Now, another movie that has been out, I think, for a week now, The Black Phone. Black Phone. How has that been?
It's been doing all right. This is a horror flick.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Ethan Hawke. I haven't got to see it yet. It's
Okay.
supposed to be, if you're into horror films,
Mm-hmm.
this thing looks supposed to be very creepy and very scary.
Now, have you seen this, Andy?
Negative.
Negative, huh? Are you going? You think you're gonna see this?
Oh,
or-
if I have time, I certainly will.
Gotcha. Now, is this one that got pushed back and was supposed to be released? Because I see like 2021 that it was as the date like that's
Yeah.
online here. So looks like one that's
Push
maybe
back.
gotcha. Pushed back. Rotten Tomatoes. Tomato meter 84%.
Wow.
Now the audience score, because I love doing this, put it out there to see who can get the closest. So tomato meter's 84%. What would you guess the audience score is, Andy?
87.
Tina
92.
and Craig.
78.
Wow. Andy, your game is strong. The force is strong.
The
within
force is
this one.
strong
Force
within
is
this one.
with
Yes,
you.
89%.
Wow.
So very close though, Tina as well. Very, very close. But 89%. So wow, it seems like a
Yeah, and this is,
Solid movie.
I think, interesting in different ways.
Mhm.
First of all, it's very successful. Because it's a horror movie, typically they don't spend much to
Mhm.
make them. $17 million.
wow.
That's Hollywood, not much.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah, to me, that's a significant amount of money, but not to Hollywood.
Yeah.
But it's been out a week, 46 million at the
Ooh.
box office, so it
So
is.
killing it.
It
Wow.
is, yeah, it's solidly successful.
Now, who else is in that besides Ethan Hawke?
Nobody.
That we would, no, nobody. But that's okay. Ethan Hawke, I love him. I really do. He's really a good actor, and he is in one of my favorite movies. I know I've talked about this before, but Daybreakers, which is just a wonderful vampire movie.
Mm.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This review is interesting on Rotten Tomatoes. It says The Black Phone is not a great horror film, but it is a well-crafted one that does not insult your intelligence.
Ah,
Oh,
Wow.
now that,
That's something. It says
Yeah.
it does not aim high, but it hits its mark to deliver a compelling and disturbing tale.
there you go.
Wow. So
Wish I could write like
it
that.
doesn't insult your intelligence. Yeah, because how many horror films you're like, are you kidding? They're so stupid. They're so
Yeah.
stupid.
well, you're yelling at the person,
Yeah.
no, don't go into that
Yeah.
closet.
Yeah.
Don't
Yes,
split up,
you know,
don't
pick
split up.
Pick up the gun from the guy you just killed, come on.
Yeah, but no, leave it there and still get chased by someone, with a knife and you have access to a gun.
Yes, and why
So-
are you wearing high heels when you're trying to outrun a monster? Oh.
Yeah, So
Makes
that's
my
interesting.
calves look terrific.
So how's the feedback been from, audience or people at the theater?
Good. Yeah. People have seen it, like it.
Wow.
Horror films are one of those kind of hit and miss genres, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't like horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And hit and miss, is, of course, is applicable to all movie genres.
Mm-hmm.
But the Blumhouse production company hits always, always,
Wow.
always smash hugely successful
Wow.
movies.
So
Oh.
Even stuff that you
Wouldn't
have no
expect.
reason to
Yeah.
think would resonate with the public. What was that one that they did a couple of years ago, The Nun?
Oh, the Conjuring stuff.
Yeah, there we go, yeah.
yeah.
You would not think that people would be interested in that in the least. but,
Yeah.
people just lapped it up
Wow.
because and I think this is typical. They know what they want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
They don't aim high,
Mm-hmm.
but boy, oh boy, where
Hit the
they
mark.
aim, they hit the mark, and
Wow.
people appreciate that, and people just flock to their movies.
Wow. So they have an incredible batting average.
Yes,
Very,
yeah.
very high, which is good.
And this Bloom guy is now just disgustingly rich.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay, good for him.
Yay, capitalism.
Another one that is consistently hitting the mark, Toy Story and anything Toy Story related. So Lightyear, still in the theaters, rated PG, and I would imagine that's done incredible. Lightyear? No?
There's-
Pretty average.
Yeah, there's a
Average.
lot of people avoiding it
Okay.
because there's
Yeah. Disney kind of
made some choices
okay.
about it, and
Yeah.
it's affected the.
it's really too bad
Bottom
because
line.
it's gratuitous wokeness
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
inserted, and it's so the franchise is so great.
Mm-hmm.
It was gratuitous. I mean, it was a very little blip in the movie. But I guess the other part of the film, though, reviews are kind of average on it also.
Oh, really?
That it's just not, it doesn't hit the Toy Story mark. It's kind
Okay.
of
Yeah.
a little bit flat.
And isn't that there's that balance where you try and stray if you go too far to be different? I know you've mentioned this quite a bit, Craig, where you try and be different or try and make something different. But if you go too far, then people can't relate. It's not what they want or expect, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, the Pixar franchise is so powerful and so wonderful that I think Disney is just didn't put any effort into it.
Wow.
The things that we like about Pixar are the innovative characters. They have talking fish, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
People just loved it.
Yeah.
Not only a talking fish, but a talking fish with a mental disability.
Yeah, yeah.
A talking fish with a mental disability, and Pixar did it so well that it was a huge success, and now part of the American lexicon.
Yeah,
It's part of our mental fabric now.
Yeah, yeah.
And this, as Craig said, is just flat.
Wow.
It's like sometimes in Hollywood we say, well, that actor just phoned it in.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And they
It's
just
really a shame because Pixar, I think back to my favorite Pixar movie, Up. It's just
Squirrel?
Yeah, it's such a wonderful movie. And my favorite Disney movie is Enchanted.
Oh, wow.
These are the things that they do so beautifully. And when they started to mess with stuff to become more socially woke, it's a shame. Didn't need to do that.
and it's been out for a couple of weeks now. It's not profitable yet. And
Wow, for it not to be really profitable yet, that says a lot.
Yeah.
and it's nowhere near profitable either.
Well, and it was banned from a bunch of countries too, where they could have had a market, but because they included gayness, it was banned from Saudi Arabia and a lot of the Muslim countries. And it's a shame. I think it was a gratuitous thing. Charming franchise. Toy Story, love Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of Pixar movies out now. I mean, there's probably over 20,
Right.
Mhm.
and with very few exceptions, each one of them is unique and wonderful.
Mhm.
And some of the writing and imagination in some of these is just
Mhm.
brilliant.
Mhm.
And this is, I don't know what to say about it. It's not brilliant. And from Pixar, we expect brilliant. And if we
Wow.
don't get brilliant, we don't, we talked about the setting the bar for the Blumhouse.
Yeah.
The bar for Pixar productions is enormously high.
Yeah.
And we expect it, and we almost always get it,
Yes.
but not here.
Yeah, because they created that bar by being so good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Well, and looking at and just kind of jumping ahead to the next movie, because Jurassic World Dominion still in the theaters, and that one interesting. Just looking at the disparity between the critics' reviews and the audience reviews, there is a pretty big gap. And what has the Rim Country audience, shown you, Craig, as far as?
People like it.
Yeah.
But you got to go into this one. It's a dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
Run around people. I mean, it's the fifth one of this.
Yeah.
So people love it.
Okay.
If you're going into it and want to look at it, critically as far as
Yeah.
some of the technical stuff.
Yeah.
That's where the critics kind of fell apart on
Gotcha.
it.
Gotcha.
But it's what we call a popcorn movie.
Yes, and now I remember Andy's talking about this, and when this first came out, when you first saw it, because the show times are 12:30, 3:30 in 3D,
Yes.
and then 6:30. And Andy, I remember you being so impressed because you saw it in 3D. You were down in the second row,
Yep.
and you thought, oh, this is not going to be good because the movie was so full. The theater was so full.
Yep.
And then you were forced to be down in that second row, but then you said the experience was incredible.
Yes, immersive.
Immersive.
Is I expected I
Good
would.
word, good word.
Yeah.
I expected that I would get a crink in my neck,
Yes.
and that it would be just torture to be
Mhm.
down there. No, it was wonderful. I
Yeah.
went with my movie buddy, and actually we saw it on Friday, and then we went back and saw it in 3D on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how much we liked it.
Yes.
I think the critics are right, and Craig is right. This is the last. There were three original Jurassic Park movies, and now this is the third Jurassic World movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they just completely run out of ideas.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
There's no other way to say it. Almost every scene in the new movie, the current movie, is something that they could have just snipped out of the film from one of the others and just spliced it together.
Yeah.
Saved them a lot of money.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is absolutely ludicrous. There's a great scene that is really fun. They're in a logging camp in Oregon or someplace, and there are brontosauruses wandering through the camp. And there's no way in the world that the sheriff would have allowed that to happen. That's dangerous to have an 80-ton dinosaur wandering around loose. They would have lassoed him and taken him away someplace or shot
Yeah.
Yeah, but brontosauruses were vegetarians. So
Vegasaurus, as we learned in the first movie.
Right, they were not like Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, they'll still step on you.
carnivores. Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
And if they happen to turn left, their tail weighs 17 tons and is
Right.
45 feet long.
Right.
So, there's danger aside from being eaten.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like my puppy.
Yeah.
doing well in
The
the theater.
boy, was it fun to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
it really was. I rarely enjoy a movie as much as I enjoyed that one.
Well,
Wow.
and you have the great people from the franchise, Sam
Yeah.
Neill,
Oh yeah,
Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
yep.
I mean,
They bring them
these are
back.
people who, we know belong to this franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And for 30 years or however long it's been since the first one, a long time,
Wow.
we've wanted the two paleontologists who obviously have an attraction for each other to
Yeah.
culminate that attraction. So that's fun too.
That's good.
Well,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
And we're just going to mention, because it's just a little hair past 10:30, but there is one more movie that's
Top Gun.
still at the theater, Top Gun Maverick.
Oh.
And we will talk about this
Still my heart.
online
Yeah.
because we are streaming on KRIM FM.
Go see Top Gun now.
Oh,
But yeah,
now,
because
now.
how many more weeks will it be in the theater?
The way it's going right now, probably 8.
Wow.
This thing's still doing great.
Yeah.
It's actually back in one of the big theaters.
Wow.
It's been.
And I love that Tom Cruise, before the movie, thanks
Uh-huh.
people for coming to the theater.
Hey,
Yeah,
there
that's
we
good.
go.
Really, really nice things.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to talk about Top Gun Maverick because it is worthy to be talked about.
Absolutely.
It
Oh,
is
it's a
an
wonderful.
incredible film, and it is still in the theater, in the Sawmill Theater, rated PG-13, and showtimes are 12:30, 3:30, and 6:30. So, yeah, a movie that you definitely want to see,
Good
and
stuff.
even if you've seen it
Oh,
again.
yeah.
4th of July weekend. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great movie for 4th of July weekend.
Oh, America. There it is.
America.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, hey, time to get back to the music here on the radio. But again, we're still streaming live on the KRIM Facebook page and YouTube channel. So hope you join us. But before we get back to more songs, here's a quick update from the National Weather Service.
Yeah, King Grim with the
All right, you guys got this? I got
yeah.
things to do.
Take care.
All my cameras went out yesterday. Whole security system went out.
No.
So I'm feeling, it's kind of weird. 6 weeks ago, I go back in the kitchen. I was like, I see something in these sheets over here. I was like, here you go. What's this? And
See you later. Oh, no, we're staying on. That's right.
turns out it was a chipmunk.
Oh.
So but we don't have chipmunks around the theater. I've never seen a chipmunk over there before.
Well, somebody probably,
So-
one of your competitors brought him
I don't know where the
in.
little sucker went.
No.
So then he vanished. Then I'm
It was
talking to, I talked to Lou, and he said, "Oh yeah, I saw him too." Anyway,
A chip.
we have not seen him in 6 weeks, and now all my cameras went out. I'm like,
Oh.
that
Liars.
little sucker's not on the roof now.
Well, you know, in Enchanted,
Cute, though.
there's a wonderful chipmunk. Yeah, Pip, the little chipmunk. Yeah, you have to name it.
Bad Guys is gone.
That guy's gone. Yes.
Another very successful movie.
You know what? And that's one of the things with Lightyear.
Yeah.
Bad Guys was actually doing better than Lightyear.
Wow.
After
Wow.
Bad Guys had been here for 4 weeks, and Lightyear was here
Wow.
for like 3-4 days.
Whoa!
Wow, yeah, that's a lot right there. I mean, Bad Guys, though, it did good. I mean, wow. But,
Oh, no, very successful movie.
But who would think, I mean,
Sure.
if you ask somebody, okay, is Lightyear going to not do as good as Bad Guys? You would say, oh my gosh, Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear? Oh, that'll do twice as good as Bad Guys, 10 times as good.
But it had the, the stigma on
Yeah.
it. You know,
Yeah.
the people were talking about it. And
The stench.
And not going because of that, which is
It-
so, what, they don't need to do that.
Yeah, and being banned in so many
Oh,
countries
yeah.
as well,
yeah.
so that
Many, many countries.
obviously affects it.
Yeah.
Well,
But
geez, think how good Top Gun would have been.
If it's in China.
If they were in China.
Oh, my word,
China's
yeah.
such an enormous movie market. It's a billion three?
Mhm.
So you take the American population and add a billion to it,
Mhm.
and that's how many potential tickets you can sell over there.
yeah, that's crazy. And how, I was looking to see, what are the numbers? Like, what is it at now as far as grossing? Because I'd imagine people seeing it again and again here and having a resurgence, it's probably like that in other places.
21 million for Top Gun.
Wow.
Without China.
Without
Yeah.
China.
Without China.
Wow. And
Yay, I'm so glad. It's a great movie.
I'm against
Really.
censorship.
Yeah.
Well, I am too, but.
Well,
I just want to go on the record.
yeah. and on tomato meters, I mean, the critics, 96% and audience 99.
Yep,
96 and 99.
yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
hard pressed to think of a movie that's that has both the critics and the public.
Higher than that.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Those are very, very strong
And that-
numbers.
And that's with over 50,000 verified ratings from
Oh, wow.
audience members. So over 50,000. So think about,
Goodness.
to try and get people to agree or to all feel the same way about something
Ooh,
is
chocolate?
it's
Oh,
rarity.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Strawberry.
Yeah, whatever it is. But for 99% of these 50,000 plus people to all be like,
I think it really speaks to the fact that we've been longing for something that was a feel-good movie.
mm-hmm,
And a stimulating movie, whatever one thinks about Tom Cruise, and he is a little weird, but man, that boy can really do stunts. He produced it, and they went into it very clearly wanting to talk about patriotism, talk about caring about excellence.
Mhm.
Merit is rewarded. It's not kind of like, okay, you have to have a diverse population no matter what their merit is. It's just everything about it was so great. I went into it feeling good. I came out of it feeling better.
wow.
Yeah.
This one movie critic said a perfect popcorn movie and an improvement on the original.
I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
So. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Really.
Wow.
I know.
And
Yeah.
that's something, because
Yeah, it
how
really
often
was.
does that happen?
Right.
To where you have a very successful movie
Uh-huh.
and then there's a sequel.
Iconic
An
movie.
Oh
iconic-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Top Gun is absolutely part of the American mythos.
The culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of our culture.
Yeah.
And I watched most of it not long ago, within the last couple of weeks, and it's not that great a movie. I mean,
Right.
as a
Right.
movie,
Yeah.
but there are parts of it that are so good.
Right.
Yeah.
We have the volleyball scene.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers that volleyball scene. That's just great.
Uh-huh.
And the
Yeah.
kind of the rah America enthusiasm
Yeah.
that is all through the movie. And
Yeah.
and that is present in the new movie, but it's subdued. It's more subtle. And what we have is we have depictions of young Americans of absolutely the finest,
Yes.
the best people that you could possibly think of. I mean, they're kind, they're dedicated, they are wickedly smart,
Honorable.
and tremendously honorable. Yep.
That's really an important thing.
Yeah.
And they're all people in their 20s.
Right.
It's really terrific.
It's reassuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at kind of some things that were happening in 1986 that also could have bolstered, Top Gun, the reception by, Americans, like, rallying behind it and making it iconic. So, the Space Shuttle Challenger disintegrates
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
that year.
Yeah.
That's a hit to kind of America and
Yeah.
space exploration and just
Yeah.
all of it.
Let's go to
And
Mars.
tragedy. Soviet nuclear reactor at Chernobyl
Right.
explodes
Right.
April 26th, so a big event and release of radioactive material across much of Europe. Hands Across America was held
Oh, I remember
that year, and that was kind of a big, thing. Hey, Hands Across America. So then I could see, you have Top Gun come out as well, and it just kind of was plugged right in and just received so well.
Well, the cool thing also about it is there is such a culture, an overlay culture of the snowflake.
Mhm.
We need to be safe, we need our safe spaces. And this was just so diametrically opposite to that.
Mhm.
No, it's not safe spaces. I have a shirt here.
Right,
Bravery, not
I saw that
obedience,
from,
right?
from JP.
From JP, right, I know.
Yeah.
And these young men and young women were so dedicated to, yes, we're taking chances and we're doing it because we are patriotic, and because also this is the nature of how we should be, rather than cowering in the corner, hoping that, we can get a sex change or something.
But
Right.
yeah, and when it makes me think of like Chuck Yeager.
Yeah,
Chuck
yeah,
Yeager, the whole
yeah.
and just the guys, whether it was in aeronautics or you know with vehicles, whatever, but just pushing the limits.
And do you remember the movie The Right Stuff? I mean, that again was a really, inspiring movie. I read the book as well, and it's that kind of rah-rah, but in a good way, not over the top, unbelievable. But yes, this is the finest that we can produce. You know?
And Tom Cruise's character Maverick, exceptionally good pilot.
Yes.
Even in the world that he inhabited, a world of magnificently skilled pilots.
Right.
He was even more magnificently skilled than they were. But because of his nature as an iconoclast within a hierarchical structure, the military is very much salute and say yes, sir. And he wasn't that kind of a guy. But just like Shane,
Yes.
when we as a culture in the movie, when the United States needed a hero, they took this guy that they had suppressed and sat on and dismissed and diminished for a couple of decades. They plucked him to go on this very important mission, important to the whole world as well as to the United States, because he could do it. And then it's not really depicted in the movie, but the assumption was that this was his last hurrah. He's not going to. This is not going to make him an admiral. This is going to be the last mission of his career, because that's what we do with heroes. When we don't need them anymore, we put them back out behind the barn. Say, okay, thanks a lot. Get lost.
Yeah.
It reminds me when you said that, but I know it's not anywhere near, Top Gun Maverick, but just like somebody bringing somebody back in, like a hero, and it reminds me of the Kevin Costner movie where he was a like a Air Force recon guy getting pilots or astronauts from the ocean. Remember that movie? And he was and the young guy. Who was the young guy that was in it?
Kitchener.
Yeah.
Because they were Coast Guard rescue divers.
Coast Guard
Right.
Rescue.
Right.
That's it. Coast Guard Rescue Divers.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he has all the awards, and it kind of had that Top Gun feel where the instructor, and it's like, oh, his name's up there, but this guy comes back and and then he in the end he gives his life, he cuts the line or whatever, and he goes down so the rest of the crew can be saved and everything.
Well, if you even go back to World War II, General Patton was a monstrously important person to the war effort and winning the war, and yet he was not popular with Eisenhower and those guys because he was
couldn't be controlled.
well, he couldn't be controlled, and he was critical in, I think, a just and a sensible way of the politics over winning. And the question is, did he die? I mean, he died in a motorcycle accident.
No, automobile accident.
Automobile accident, right? But the
just after the war had ended.
Absolutely, how
And
convenient, right?
before he could start World War III.
Right. Yeah. Well, you also have that group of people who they are warriors. This is what they do, and if there's not a war for them to fight, they're kind of out of their element. Because what they do best is be a warrior, and there are times and places for them, but peaceful society doesn't always know what to do with them.
Well,
That's-
they're
yeah.
awkward.
Yeah, they're very
And
awkward
dangerous.
And dangerous,
Mhm.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Mm.
and Tom Cruise, they make a point also that he's not been promoted. He's not gone up into the political high-level military class because he wouldn't play the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm.
And yet, when they needed somebody who could not, like, he could do stuff that nobody but he could do,
Mhm.
that was really important. And his
Mm.
training approach in that movie was really, really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. All of
It's an inspirational leader.
Right,
And that's an aspect of the hero as well.
absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
and in American history, we've had lots of heroes, and often they're, when we're done with them, we're done with them.
Yeah.
But there was one, and our earliest perhaps hero, George Washington.
Yes.
Mm.
And he broke the pattern on that.
Mhm.
And he did it deliberately, and he did it willfully. Because after we had defeated King George. King George is a fink. Just want to
Yes.
make on the
Totally
record
fake.
for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Um,
If you're listening, sorry, King George.
it might be. There was an effort because setting up a new country is difficult, and it's awkward.
Yeah.
And, things don't always go.
There's a few challenges.
Yeah. And there was an element that wanted to make Washington a monarch.
Yes.
Mm.
That we will make you the
Oh,
new
wow.
The new king.
the new king,
Yeah.
the new King George.
Right.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have any part of that.
That's right. He
Yeah.
said, basically, we are not doing that.
Yeah.
We're doing a different thing. And,
Yeah.
and remember, there's that famous line when Benjamin Franklin came down the steps after they'd ratified the Constitution,
Mhm.
and a lady said to him, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government have you given us? And he said, a republic if you can keep it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it almost
And that's a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost failed immediately.
Yeah.
If Washington had not had the strength of character that he had,
Yes.
it would. I mean, how?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody says, "Andy, you want to be king?" Oh, well, thank you.
You could be king of Star Valley.
Yeah. No, but
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
how
so true.
Yeah.
how strong do you have
Yeah.
to be in your heart to resist that kind of temptation?
Yeah.
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 And
yeah.
they named a city in Ohio after George Washington,
Mhm. Mm.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Oh.
Mhm.
Huh.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
Washington said, "No, I'm going back. I'm
Yeah.
going back to my farm. And
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to return to my."
He served for what, 2 terms,
Uh-huh.
and then he was done, and
Yeah.
he is such a hero to me
Uh-huh.
because of his writings. His farewell address was amazing,
Mm.
and this weekend being 4th of July weekend.
Independence Day.
Oh my goodness, you think about what those guys stepped up to the plate to
Yeah.
do when they signed that declaration.
Yeah. I love growing up not far from Washington's Crossing.
Mm.
We would, see that frequently, go by Washington's Crossing. And when you see the paintings and of, them in the boats and
Mm.
just, kind of ragtag outfit, the winters and suffering
Yeah.
through the winters. It's not like they were all in their cold
Yeah.
weather gear and everything, but like wrapped up and,
And-
it's crazy.
And by the way, just because the paper didn't print it,
Mhm.
there was an interchange about the Second Amendment and about guns
Mhm.
between me and another person. I
Mhm.
can't remember their name, but
Mhm.
they wrote in contradicting me and
Mhm.
saying the only guns that were available at the time of the Revolution
Mhm.
were muskets and and stuff. That was not true. My
Mhm.
husband and I did the research, and there
Mhm.
were monstrously mean repeating arms available as early as the 1600s.
Mm, mhm.
And I sent in a letter to
Yeah.
clarify that point. During the War of the Revolution, the colonists would have had any kind of weapons they
Mhm.
could have gotten a hold of.
Including artillery.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the idea that the Second Amendment only covers muskets,
Yeah.
so maybe the First Amendment only covers quill pens.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
still.
where I grew up in Rigglesville, but a neighboring town was Durham.
Oh,
And
yeah,
in Durham, Pennsylvania, they had furnaces where they made cannonballs.
right,
And it was
Wow.
right by
Oh.
the canal along the Delaware.
wow.
And so the canal had the towpath where they would
Mhm.
bring the cannonballs down and put them on the what canoes or the barges, like a barge that
Mhm.
was drawn by mule or
Mhm.
horses, and pull them down the towpath
Mhm.
on the canal, taking them to the forces, you know,
Mhm.
to be used. So it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. The
Yeah.
furnaces, and every so often they'd find an
Yep.
old cannonball, and really
Fun.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. The history, and that's where it's back east you are closer to it. It's
Yes.
more there. I mean,
Yes.
we were right by Gettysburg and.
Well, yeah, and I
you
lived in
see-
Lancaster for
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
And I mean, it really is amazing. And we
Yeah.
must remember that
Mhm.
the trigger, the sort of flame that, that lit the rebellion of the American Revolution was the British tried to disarm us.
Mm,
I mean, that was, like, okay, no, you cannot have our guns.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and George Washington. Wow, that's
And to get back to
inspiring.
Cincinnati,
Yeah, Cincinnati.
you might ask, how is it that Cincinnati is named after George Washington?
Yes.
Mhm.
How is it?
Well, in deep in Roman history, way before the during the time of the Republic, before it was an empire, there was a law
Mhm.
that in times of danger they would appoint a dictator,
Mhm.
and a dictator would be somebody but don't have to do all of the usual red tape and
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And would be like a dictator. He would say, do it, and it would be done.
Yeah.
And there was a guy named Cincinnatus, I think it was the Gauls.
That's
The
right.
Gauls were causing him a lot of trouble.
Mhm.
And they appointed Cincinnatus to be the dictator, and he dealt with the Gauls. And then some of his supporters says, hey, listen, as long as you're dictator, why don't you just stay dictator? And
Mhm.
Cincinnatus said, no,
Wow.
I'm going back to my farm.
Mhm.
And he said it exactly that way. I'm going back to my farm and continue farming.
Right.
So here it is, statue of Cincinnatus in Cincinnati, Ohio,
Yep.
holding basically his plow, with his plow in his hand.
Mhm.
So military leader of the early Roman Republic, who became a legendary figure of Roman virtue, particularly civic virtue, by
Yeah.
the time of the late Republic. Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
There was an organization called the Society of Cincinnatus that was current after the American Revolutionary War. That was made up primarily of former army officers, and they were all supporters of naturally of George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
Wow, that's very interesting, and it makes me think of because as you said, the temptation, obviously the incredible temptation.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a movie. It's so easy to refer back to, especially now.
Toy Story 1.
No, The Devil's Advocate.
Oh.
yeah, boy, you
One
hit
of
a,
my favorite
Yeah,
movies
you
of
hit
all
the-
time.
you hit the nerve there.
Yeah, yeah,
And
Yeah.
Pride,
yeah.
and at the end of
Right
the
at
movie,
the end,
when
Vanity,
the reporter
it's my
Vanity.
favorite sin, right.
Yep, and
Oh,
you did such
that
a
was
great job.
such a
Come
good-
on, let
yeah.
me just, I really want
Yeah,
to, interview
yeah,
you. I want to,
yeah.
Do a story on you. Come on.
Oh man,
And
that is such a real morality story.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the same though here, and
Yeah.
with George Washington
Yeah.
and so on.
Yep.
Obviously the temptation and the people, the amount of people that
Yeah.
were, come on, we need you, you have to do this, we need you, you're the
Yeah.
best, you're the
Yeah.
greatest,
Yep.
you're our only hope, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Yep.
I know.
And that is wired into us,
Yeah.
and it's rewarded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But George Washington
Look,
right
when they-
now, look at, in Washington University, they want to remove the statue of George Washington. I'm like, could we just stop?
Wow.
You know, yeah. I
That's
mean, he's
crazy.
really one of my big time heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool to know that.
Mhm.
And with Cincinnati, the history there.
And with The Devil's
Cincinnati,
Advocate, I'm
wow.
glad you brought up that movie because there is a speech that Al Pacino gives towards the end of the movie about lawyers and how, you know, it's our time. And I mean, he is, you know, Satan as an attorney. And, you know, William Shakespeare said, first we kill all the lawyers. And there is even a belief that, you know, with the United States Constitution, there shall be no titles of nobility. And some say that the title Esquire, which is the, you know, the designation of an attorney,
Yeah.
is a title of nobility and should not be permitted.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, there we are.
Didn't expect that, did you guys?
Well,
There it
it's
is.
July 4th
And it's
weekend,
great. I know,
you
July 4th.
Yeah,
Very fitting.
Yay.
So, and
Yay.
his name was Lucius, was it? I forget.
Lucius Cincinnatus?
Yeah, Lucius Quintius.
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 Means he's the fifth
Cincinnatus.
kid.
Yeah.
Oh, there we
Right,
go.
there
Lucius
you go.
Quintius Cincinnatus.
Cincinnatus. Yeah.
I think if I had another child, that's what I'd name him.
I know.
You're like